It's working? Good. Can everybody please take a minute to take your cell phones out of your pockets and make sure they're on the highest volumes? Raise them early to the highest. Silence them, please. If somebody walks in late and they sit next to you, just kindly remind them to silence their phone. Thank you. DJ and I were brother-in-laws. My wife Ken. DJ and I are brother-in-laws. My wife Candace and Alexis are sisters. And yet, as soon as I was married, we felt like brothers, instantly. And there's a perfect explanation of how this happened. If anyone has ever walked into my in-laws' home, Jackie and Lori Picciotto, you'll know exactly what I'm referring to. As soon as you walk in, you are family. Not only are you family, but your friends and your family are also family. So 17 years ago, when this big, huge heart of a man, DJ Cohen, walked into this home, he was met with this abundance of love that he felt every day, and especially these last 4 years. Mom and Dad, your support and courage, helping at any request that was asked upon, has been truly heroic. And we know DJ and Alexis always felt comforted knowing you would always and will always be in their corner. It's been 4 days since we lost DJ, and it hasn't gotten easier. Actually, the opposite. It's been more and more difficult. At first, I felt at peace. We knew that he was no longer suffering and that he's in a better place. And that made us feel okay. But then I realized our loss and selfishly wasn't ready. There's more to say. There's more to talk about. How can that last kiss on his forehead be the last one? I want to redo. I feel like I missed out on so many opportunities and so many more conversations. So I've been scrolling through my old text messages, trying to relive conversations and trying to read them within the context of when they were sent. But I can't, because I understand so much more now than I did then. You see, DJ didn't just converse with pleasantries or get hung up with mundane process. He focused on the essence of what he was doing, and he went deep into each conversation or action he was experiencing. But not in the deepest of philosophical ways. It was in the simplest way possible. Monday, February 11th, 2019, just a few weeks ago. It was a long day of business travel and meetings. It was 7 p.m. and I just sat down for dinner. And my phone rings. It's a text message from DJ. So, tell me or paint me a mental picture of your day. Okay. I knew he was having a rough day and figured maybe he needs a little distraction. So I have to answer now. So I sat back and I began to type. I woke up at 6 a.m., left my house at 7 p.m., set 7:15. Flight was on time, continued to document in detail my entire day. From 6 a.m. till, and I just sat down for dinner. His response, great, love it. Silly me to think that he needed to hear this for him. Why did I just realize he wanted me to stop, sit back, and reflect on my day? He was all about engaging everyone and making you aware of yourself. Friday night Kiddush was never consistent. Actually, not many things about DJ was consistent. He always knew how to keep you aware and on your toes. Kiddush was a performance. Sometimes he would use a high-pitched voice, sometimes it was deep, sometimes it was slow, and sometimes it was fast. Sometimes it was all in one. But when he got to Tehillah, Nekra'eh Kodesh, Zecher, and his three girls would say, Yetziat Mitzrayim, making sure they never forgot where they came from, always teaching them to be aware. In most houses, after the Hamotzi is said, it's dinner time. Not with DJ. He needs to hand out each piece of bread and sing the person's name as he's handing them out. And one for me, Ma, and one for Papa. If there were 20 people eating over, we sat there listening to each person's name, making sure everyone felt the connection, and it was being a part of Shabbat. DJ kept us connected. DJ kept us connected to ourselves, and we will ever be connected to him. Rabbi David Towell.
Yesterday morning's Torah portion, we read about the alacrity and fervor with which the Jewish people rallied, men and women in common, to unite to build the Mishkan. The way they gave of their time, their effort, their skill, and their possessions to come together in this all-important project. But there was one group who seemed to fall a little bit short. The Torah tells us, "V'hanesi'im hevi'u et avnei hashoham ve'et avnei hamiluim la'efod ve'la'choshen." The Nesi'im, the tribal leaders, they offered up the shoulder stones and the stones of the breastplate to be put on the apron and on the choshen. If you look inside the Torah, the word Nesi'im is not spelt the way it normally is. The word Nesi'im is missing a yod. Rashi and the Chachmei Midrash comment on this anomaly. Why was it that their name was spelt short? Because they fell short. Because the Nesi'im were supposed to be at the forefront of giving, of leading the way, of paving a path for the rest of Am Yisrael to show the importance of building the Mishkan. They took a step back and they said, you know what, Moshe, let everybody else give before us and we'll fill in whatever is lacking. To be honest, anybody who's ever raised money, that would be music to their ears. You mean all I have to do is make a couple of bucks and you'll fill in my budget? Unbelievable. But with the fervor and intensity of the Jewish people, they gave everything. The Torah tells us, it was enough. They didn't need any more. They sent out a word, we don't need any more, stop bringing. And the Nesi'im were stuck. They were only able to bring something that only they possessed, but they missed out on an amazing opportunity to lead Am Yisrael in this all-important project. There are two very important lessons that I think we could take out of this midrash, and I think they connect so well to David ben Yafad, DJ Cohen, alav shalom. The first, as we're only a few months away from Pesach, I know the ladies don't want to hear that word. There's a statement, mitzvah ha'ba'al yadcha al tahmitzenna. When a mitzvah comes to your hands, don't let it become hametz. What is hametz? Hametz, you allow time, you allow something to fester, to stay there, and you push it off, and it begins to rise. That's hametz. Hametz is the arch enemy of Am Yisrael. Instead, our rabbis tell us, grab onto that opportunity. Don't let it pass you by. How many of us live life with this creed? I think that was DJ's creed. I think that was his motto. Any opportunity that you have, take it, grab it. Don't wait for another day. Why push off to tomorrow when you're able to do today? None of us know how long we have. None of us know if that opportunity will come up again. And so he taught us to grab those opportunities when they come to our doorstep. But perhaps even deeper, a little bit broader, the Torah is teaching us here what it means to be a leader. Sometimes we think to be a leader means you have to have the title rabbi in front of your name, or doctor, or professor. It's not true. To be a leader is just to be somebody who paves the way for others, who serves as a role model for people to follow in some of the smallest of things. You know, in our community, we have a minor obsession with plaques. And it's an important thing. because we need to pay tribute and gratitude to those who have given to us and have helped to build our institutions. But the problem is that sometimes we think to ourselves, the only way I make a difference is if my name is etched on the wall. And it's not true. Because if you etch your name on people's hearts, that goes such a long way. I don't speak for myself. When I speak for everybody here, when I say that DJ Cohen etched his name on each of our hearts. On Friday, when I was visiting in the Cohen house, I met up with someone who means a lot to me, and a lot of the rabbis sitting in this room, Mr. Ezra Sol Ashkenazi. And we had a conversation, and he relayed to me a conversation that he had with Alexis. We put pen to paper, and I want to share his words with you. There is no word in the English language which can properly encapsulate the monumental figure that was DJ Cohen, alav shalom. But perhaps the word which comes closest is that he was a hero. What is a hero? A hero is someone who paves the way for others, who helps save others in their time of need, not for fanfare or public acknowledgement, but simply because it is the right thing to do. A hero's tentacles are felt far and wide by people of all ages and backgrounds. There have been many great heroes in our community. Just to name a couple of my mentors, Mr. Joe D. Beda, alav shalom, and Mr. Morris I. Franco, alav shalom, two great men who also passed away from this terrible disease, who gave their lives to be heroes for others. What is so amazing is that DJ accomplished being a hero to so many in just 4 years, all while in a weakened condition. It is certainly time for us to think of DJ as being a hero, as well as a community leader. These words from Mr. Ezra Sol Ashkenazi. I'll conclude with a statement of our Hachamim, who say, Tzadikim b'motam nikra'im hayim. That when the righteous people pass on from this world, they remain alive. They remain alive because they're in our hearts, because they're in our minds, and they're in our souls, and they control and inspire all of the different things that we do. We always say, David Melech Yisrael Chai v'kayam. And in this case, David is Chai v'kayam. And Ashon Tzura, it's Ora Chayim.
Rabbi Cassie just gave me an amazing story that I want to share with everybody. Apparently, a girl from Hillel was so touched by DJ that the day of his funeral, she decided that she wanted to do something to make a difference. So she asked her mother to take her to the stores that she could start making mishloach manot and selling them so the proceeds could go to the cancer center. So she went there and she created 50 mishloach manot to sell. And the day of the funeral, she got 500 orders. And she couldn't believe it. The next day, that 500 turned into 800. So, I'm not sure what grade she's in, but she goes to Hillel, and it's just amazing to hear stories like this and seeing how every age was affected and was inspired by DJ. Our next speaker, Leo Pichotto, is speaking on behalf of one of DJ's daughters that wants to remain anonymous for now.
Before I speak on behalf of my niece, I'd like to just thank my sister Alexis for being so strong and not only helping us all through these last 4 days, but the last 4 years since DJ was diagnosed. She has been incredibly strong, keeping her head up for all of us. I look up to you every day, and I'm just so proud to be your brother. And I thank you so much for being with DJ into our life. February 27th, 2019. This is Wednesday morning. Dear Dad, I love you so much, more than words can explain. You always brought the rainbow after the rain and never let me feel anything but happiness. And you told me so much love and hope no matter what the situation, Hashem is always with you. You never stop fighting, and I won't either. know that if you are gone physically, you will still be in my heart and head. I know you'll be watching over me with Hashem. You taught me so many things, and I will never forget you lived a full life and are still living a wonderful, amazing, inspiring, courageous life. You are my role model. You're strong and smart and have so much great emunah that everything is for the best, and I just want you to not be in pain. You and Mommy have so much hope and a strong connection to Hashem. I am so grateful that Hashem brought you and Mommy together and that you said you were a Yankee fan. All the lessons you taught me, Linda and Caroline, we will never forget, and you will always be our number one. Happy 4 years. I love you to infinity and beyond. Lori.
Lori, that was beautiful. You're beautiful. Daniel Cohen is speaking on behalf of, am I allowed to say the name this time? Linda Cohen.
Hi everyone. Over the past few months, Linda, Lori, Caroline, and I have built a really strong relationship, and I'm very thankful to be the person Linda allowed to read her speech today. Here it goes. As you all already know, my father was DJ Cohen. He was a man who knew how to turn anything negative into something positive. His greatest trait was knowing how to cheer everyone up, even when he was falling down. Daddy, over the past 4 years, you have taught me so much more than anyone can learn in a lifetime. You were the best dad I could ever ask for. As you were lying in your hospital bed, you still had your sense of humor and positive outlook on life. You still made jokes and smiled and made everyone happy, even in your last days. Daddy, you taught me so many things, but I think the 3 most important lessons I learned were in your last few days. First, you always told me to be there for Lori and Caroline. You told me that at the end of the day, it's us 3, and we might as well be friends than enemies. You always stressed how important family is and how important it is to be there, especially for each other, through any challenge. Second, Daddy, when I would come home from school in a bad mood or because someone wasn't being nice, you would always tell me to look at the positive and to tell you 3 things about my day. You would cheer me up without me even knowing it. You would look at me like I was crazy if I would tell you something bad about my day, and then we would laugh about it. Over the past 4 years, you really taught me that in something negative, if you look for it, you will find something positive. You used cancer, a deadly disease, to find your passion and love to inspire people all over the world. I remember how you would always tell me that you learned it from Mommy, and you could never take credit for it. You never wanted us to see you in pain. There was always a smile on your face, no matter how you were feeling. No one ever knew if you were hurting unless you told them. You would always worry about how everyone else was, and didn't want anyone to worry about you. Third, you would always tell us that if we're having a bad day, we should go into a different room and let it out. No matter how bad the issue was, or how strong we tried to stay, you always made sure to say, "You're allowed to cry." Besides for this helping me all this time, I used that line so many times, and I learned it from you, so thank you for that. Daddy, I miss you, and I love you more than words can explain. I have learned so much from you. To be humble, to stay strong, to break down, to look at the good. You even dressed up in costumes for chemo, so we wouldn't feel scared. I know that you were an angel sent to us, and Hashem needed you back to bring Mashiach. I want you to know that I will always love you forever, and that you will never be forgotten. Love, Linda.
Cohen girls, I think we could all in this room agree that we're learning everything from you right now. So, Daddy DJ did good. Our next speaker is Michael Schrecker, speaking on behalf of his wife Susan and daughter Claudia.
Going to a doctor appointment with DJ was anything but typical. I'd sometimes find myself crossing 3rd Avenue with a duck, a very friendly duck. I was hoping for a quick walk up to the office, but this wasn't happening with an incredibly sociable duck. On another appointment, DJ suited up as Batman. Full costume, hats, mask, and all. Team Deej would all be waiting in the exam room doing our stuff before the doctor would arrive. Today we were seeing a fill-in doctor, which happens from time to time. DJ, for some reason, decided to play with the hydraulic examination table. Up he went. I kid you not, just shy of 2 feet from the ceiling. His body was blocking the light, so the room was dim. And at this point, sure enough, the doctor walked in. She looked in and then glanced up. DJ looked down at her and simply said, "Hi, I'm Batman." She ran out. All right, now comes the tough part. First for my daughter, Claudia. For DJ, I love Claudia. So I'm going to try to get through this. When was the last time you sat down to a meal with another person and didn't check your phone even once? Personally, it's been a while. Today, it's impossible to not get sidetracked. The world is filled with distraction. See, DJ, he was a rare breed. He was the only person I ever knew that was able to overcome that. True moments and uninterrupted conversations were what DJ lived for. Everything you said had meaning, no matter how deep or menial. No thought was too small for him. Every true word counted. He genuinely knew how to listen, to hear you. He paid attention with every ounce of his being, making your words and your thoughts, making you, just you, feel and know that you mattered. He was only 41, but had the wisdom of a man of 90. He knew what presence, true presence was. His immense power to listen and focus and question you, and who you are, and what you're truly thinking and feeling inadvertently got you to look deep inside yourself. Yeah, he wanted to know people. He wanted to know deep inside their core, but most importantly, I think that DJ wanted you to know you. There are so many distractions in this world. It's so easy to get caught up, to avoid what's true in our lives. But even when DJ was faced with the most difficult one that would have torn most people to shreds, he refused to lose sight of life's true meaning. He understood the importance of self, the importance of living life the way you were meant to live it. Each one of us was put here for a reason, right? So let's see what DJ saw. That life isn't just about living for others, it's about living for ourselves. There is no denying There is no denying altruism and kindness. DJ so purely understood both. But to truly be kind and altruistic, you first have to appreciate yourself and your own life, your own path, like DJ did. He was able to be there for so many of us and help us get to know us, because he was one of the very few that was already there himself. He appreciated his neshama and never took it for granted. He understood that life is not just a gift, but that if you have been blessed with one, it's because you have a purpose. I think that DJ knew what his was for a very long time. I think that DJ knew what his was for a very long time. And so he took it upon himself to know others, to help people learn themselves, to live life in the truest, purest sense of the word. Ayn Rand once said something along the lines of man's basic voice is the act of unfocusing his mind, the suspension of his consciousness, the refusal to know. I can't speak for everyone else, but I do have a feeling that those words resonate with so many of us. We lose focus and tend to ignore what we really should see and feel within ourselves, which might explain why we oftentimes can feel so lost. I feel at peace knowing that DJ conquered that he found himself in his neshama's true meaning. So in his honor, let's live, learn, and get to know ourselves. Let's find out whom we are within. I know it would make him proud, but we need to do it for us. We won't be here forever, and we won't be here forever, and if DJ was able to accomplish that in his 41 years, we each ought to give it a shot. That was great. That was my daughter for you. And this is for my wife, but, bear with me. Friday, March 1st, 2019. Now it's starting to hurt. I've been numb since Tuesday. Decision made. There has been sobbing, thank yous, and many soft I love you Davids. Your Caroline is sound asleep in the next room in my house, and I smile, having just looked at some pictures of you from elementary school, and your handsome face burns through me. This very notepad I'm using has pages full of possibilities, thoughts, and questions for your doctors. We go way back, starting with Thanksgivings at Auntie Sarah's house, then to the soft-hearted young man who flew down to Florida just to hold his friend's hand when our grandmother, my mom, took a turn for the worse. It was then that I first recognized your extraordinary gift. When Laurie first told me that Alexis met a guy in Israel, a David Cohen, who goes by DJ, I flipped. DJ is gold, I said. I'll keep it. Throughout the years, we celebrated weddings, the births of 3 outstanding young ladies, holidays, birthdays, and everything else imaginable. The Cohens, Pichotos, Baileys, Levies, and Schweckys have shared countless tables together. You are the catalyst in creating bonds which remain unbreakable through good times and bad times. The last 4 years brought me closer to you than I ever thought possible. 51 Dwight Drive has become my second home. Letting myself in at any time, day or night, I would always find David or Alexis's friends there to meet any need that they may have. I know you are in a better place. I know we were all better for having known you. Words of sympathy, comfort, and thanks help. Spiritually, I get it. Halakhically, I get it. Medically, I get it. My heart doesn't. I cannot imagine a life without you in it. Beautiful boy. There will not be a day when I don't think of your beautiful face. The lessons I have learned from you and what you expect from me, it has been my privilege to call you my family. You would never want to hold back your tears, so I know you will indulge me mine. I know that I will be okay eventually. I owe you that much. I doubt if I will ever know the likes of you again, but now it just hurts. Thank you.
Ralph Hannon is going to be speaking on behalf of Sherry Soror and himself.
This is for DJ's close friend, Sherry Soror, and my friend, and yours. I experienced the highest high and the lowest low of my life in a single week. Classic DJ. Instead of allowing me to grieve, you leave me at the same moment I needed your congratulations. Everyone has expressed their condolences, masking their messages with congratulatory tone. You put me on an emotional roller coaster this week. You know how much I love roller coasters, I guess. I guess you had to go out with a bang. You knew exactly what you were doing. You orchestrated your grand finale so perfectly, leaving us down here at the exact time you were diagnosed. Typical DJ. You knew exactly what you were doing. Everyone is so worried about me, asking how I'm doing. I need time to process this. The funny thing is, you're the only one who'd understand that. And then I began to feel selfish for crying. Who am I to feel sad? I befriended you only 3 years ago to the day. What right do I have to feel sad? And then I realized that's the power and influence you have on others. If I've known you for 30 years or 30 minutes, I am captivated by you and feel like I've known you forever. DJ, when you look in the mirror and see yourself, but really it's not you at all. I mean, there's your eyes and nose and beard, but that's not all there is to you. Because you're not seeing the amount of lives you've touched with your presence. You're not seeing all the people you've made smile and laugh. You're not seeing how strong you are. You're not seeing all the friendships you've created. You're an artist, Deej. In that you paint a smile on anyone's face you come across. I hope you never forget that. You lead by example, never wasting the little time we are given. You make the most out of every minute. You don't wallow in the things we cannot change. You've learned to turn your challenges into fuel and transform something painful into something powerful, making others smile and reminding them how precious the gift of time is. At the end of the day, there is nothing more powerful than a humble person with a warrior spirit who is driven by a bigger purpose. And if I were asked to describe my best friend, my big brother, my sidekick, and my motivation to keep going, that's how I would describe you. Someone who is so modest that puts others before himself. One that puts his suffering in the back seat just to make a single person smile, even if it's just for a minute. A warrior who fights every single day just to live for one more. I always told you I hope you'd live forever, pain-free, free of suffering, full of love and laughter, because the world needs you, your motivation, your insight, your charisma, and your zest for life. And now I realize you already do, whether you're physically here or not. You have instilled in us everything we need to know, so you're not gone. Because of that, you'll live on forever. We are an unstoppable team. We take the world by storm, conquering one town at a time, school after school, city after city. There was nothing standing in our way. Before I knew it, I'd become your sidekick, teaching everyone how to dance in the rain instead of waiting for the storm to pass. At one point, I became your secretary and your agent, booking events left and right. Can't reach DJ? Call Sherry. But from the beginning, I was your little sis and your shadow, following every step you took, playing the part of the annoying little sister that I am. You strapped wings on my back and taught me how to fly. At first you held my hand, showing me the ropes. Now, because of you, I'm spreading those wings and flying. I'm so lucky. I'm so grateful for our friendship, our connection, our time together. However long it's been, because without you in my life, I don't think it would be as meaningful as it is today, as it continues to be. because you've taught and continue to teach me so much day in and day out, whether I'm talking to you or not. I've begun hearing you in my head. Whenever I'm stuck, whenever I'm happy, even when I can't find meaning. You have left such a huge imprint in my heart and in my mind. You have changed me for the better. You have given me a reason to live, to fight, to motivate, and to find meaning. It's you that has reminded me those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how. Last week, the last conversation we had, you would not let me leave until I said, I love you. You know how I feel about you, and you know I never show emotion. You even know it was the first and last time I said, I love you. You knew exactly what you were doing. In the physical sense, I lost my best friend, my mentor, partner in crime, my brother. I never knew my heart could hurt this much. I'm broken, and I'm not really sure how to do this without you. But I will be okay. Not today, not next week, or probably even next month. I'll get there when I get there. Until then, I'll fake it till I make it. I'll miss you every day, but take you with me everywhere I go. I will honorably accept the baton you've taught me to use so well. I will continue your legacy and shine through your spirit. I will continue what you no longer can. I will forever get stronger and make you proud. I look forward to sitting in the sun, singing songs, thanking God for every day with you. The last text you sent me was a few nights ago in the middle of the night. You wrote, "Good night, sis, flying home." Really? At first, I had no idea what you were saying. In hindsight, it all makes sense. You knew exactly what you were doing. Fly home, brother. Fly home. I love you forever. Your sis, Sherry. Continuing with the light fare. My last text with PJ was a fart joke that I sent. That's not a joke. Alexis can confirm it, because I think she's the one who LOL'd back to me. It was a few days before DJ passed, and when I realized that that was going to be the last communication I was going to have with my boy, well, at least my last earthly communication that I was going to have with my boy, I started to regret it immediately, thinking I couldn't have done something a little bit more dignified. A stoic quote from the Rambam, maybe. Cool Bob Dylan lyric. But, no. It's a very bad fart joke. But now that I think about it, and I had the opportunity to reflect on it, and rabbis, relax when I tie this up, it's not going to be that offensive. When I have the opportunity to reflect on it and realize that DJ probably let that be the last thing that I texted him. He could have texted back, he could have told Alexis, he could have done something to get the message to me, to give me another opportunity. But he didn't, because he always would find something in the nothing, in the stupidest stuff. It didn't matter, because he wouldn't want to take the moment and make it a heavy-duty moment. He would have wanted it, he would have wanted me to lighten up, and me to lighten the moment up. And if I didn't, and I sent something very serious to him, I'm pretty sure I would have got a fart joke back. DJ loved comedy, he loved laughing, he loved watching movies, he loved calling me just to get me to tell him a story that he heard 500 times that made him laugh. He also liked making me really uncomfortable. He knew that I was really impatient, and I don't know if any of you have ever had the privilege of assisting DJ on any errands. I'm sure plenty of you have. You know that you need a lot of patience. You cannot schedule that. And DJ knew comedy, and he knew that every great, silly comedian needed a good straight man. And Alexis was DJ's straight man every day. If you know Alexis, she is pretty straight, man. I had the privilege a couple times to be the straight man. And every single time I said, at the end of the day, in the beginning I said, yeah, no problem, anything you need. By the end of the day I said, thank God for Alexis, man. She gets over tomorrow. one night, and if I'm too long, I'm sorry. I got a few stories here, and DJ made us all wait, so this is for him. You'd want to hear him. One night I got a call when I was working in Manhattan from DJ. He had an early chemo session the next morning. Nobody was around to sleep in with him. Usually Alexis would stay in most nights. Can I fill in and crash with him tonight and take him early in the morning to the chemo appointment? I said, absolutely, no problem, whatever you need. He said he's driving in from Deal. He brought me a bag from my wife and said he'll pick me up on 5th Avenue at 5:30. So I walked outside and I waited, and the cars were going by, and all of a sudden I see this white Bentley with the trunk open in the back, coming down 5th Avenue. And he stops right in front of me, and I'm looking down the road. I'm looking for a Nissan Altima or whatever DJ drove, and this Bentley's sitting right in my line of sight, and I'm waving him away and moving, getting, looking everywhere but at the Bentley. And the window opens, and it's DJ inside. And he said, "Hop in." I said, "Okay, what's going on here?" He said, "Somebody gave me this car. I'm working. I'm still trying to figure it out." I said, "The trunk's open." He goes, "Oh, your stuff's in there." I hope. So we hopped in the car. He said, "Okay, we're staying tonight at." I said, "I don't even know. You didn't give me any details. What do we do?" "We're staying tonight at a friend of the family's at Trump Tower." I said, "Okay, look at this. Not bad. Bentley, Trump Tower. I get used to this." We pull up next to Trump Tower. The DJ has the handicap placard, so he pulls right up, and we get out of the car. People are stopping. Bentley tinted out, pulls up, parks the car, gets out. No driver, nothing, just parking it. The doorman outside Trump Tower is clearing everybody on the sidewalk. They're stopping, waiting for the paparazzi. Who is this? Who's coming out here? DJ steps out, and classic DJ. He's not just stepping out, he's stepping out in the freshest pair of Air Jordans you ever saw. His beard is trimmed to the pointiest point. His hair, his mohawk is like the perfect vertical angle. He's styling, and he walks the walk. He's pimp walking his way out to the building, and the doormen come out, and they're high-fiving him, and they're giving him... So now people are like, who are these guys? What is going on here? And we're walking in, and I'm just like, hey man, I'm just, I'm like working security with them. I don't know. We're walking behind them with this guy. So all the elevator men, everybody, and he knows everybody's name, and he's, hacking with every guy on the way up. And we go up there, and now the next morning comes, I get out of the shower, I hear DJ call out of the other room, "I laid your clothes out on the bed." What? Went in my bag and laid up? What kind of weirdo are you? He says, "Don't worry about it. If you have any questions, get dressed first, then we'll talk." Okay. Go out, I look out on the bed, and there it is. DJ. His powder blue leisure suit, ruffles, comically oversized. It was with a hat, a top hat. It was, I don't know if you ever saw Dumb and Dumber. It's the Lloyd and Harry suits, and they wear the orange and blue leisure suit tuxedos. And I go, "Okay, all right, Beach, for you, man. We're doing this. We're doing it." So we go out. And now we get down, and it's very different walking out of Trump Tower when it's daylight and you got these jerk suits on. Let me tell you. You don't feel as cool. I don't care about the Bentley anymore. But again, the doorman, different shift, knows every name. The elevator guy, the doorman on the way out. You get him, Deej. You get him. We hop into the car. This time we're walking into the car, though, and everybody stops and looks. And I'm a little embarrassed. I'm walking behind DJ. DJ's got the same pimp walk he had the day before. This time the people who are looking at us, their face is different. They're not like, who are these guys? They're like, who are these guys? So we get in, we go up to the cancer ward, and we go into the waiting room, and I'm sure a lot of you have been there on many visits, and if you haven't, it's a pretty depressing place. I mean, it's a cancer ward. And it's a waiting room, and people are at all different stages of dealing with this. They might be a family member, they might just have been diagnosed, they might have been coming here for years and miraculously are alive, and they just want to count their blessings. Nobody talks to anybody. Everybody's very staid, they're very quiet, they're very respectful. And in walk me and DJ, the Leisure Suit Brothers, like, how's it going? What's happening? Going on? And they don't know what to make of us. And they think we're just clowns, you know, maybe just trying to cheer people up. They don't realize that DJ's probably battling something that's worse than any of these guys have. And he sees one little old lady who's sitting all by herself, and he sits down next to her. And after he checks in, he goes and he zeroes in on her, and he sits down next to her, and he just starts talking to her very quietly, as if he's not wearing this at all. And he was just really, he saw somebody, and he sat, and he asked her questions. What are you suffering from? Who are you here with? She said, I'm all alone. He said, well, you're not alone, I'm here. What do you got? What's wrong? What do you take? You taking this? Oh, it's very similar. I took this. Be careful for this. And now he's giving her a whole tutorial on having cancer. And she is she's eating it up. She's asking questions and she's learning. And they're trading notes. And another person hears what's going on. And they say, I heard what you guys are talking about. Let me hear let me get involved. And they pull a chair up. And another person. Within 10 minutes, there was maybe 8 to 10 people circling us. We had to widen up the circle. I'm pulling chairs over here for DJ. We're in the waiting room. The people that aren't involved are jealous now. They're not angry anymore. They're like, what? They're like, he's the rock star that he was getting out of the Bentley, but now in the cancer ward. And people are craning to hear. They want to know what this guy is talking about. A wife pats her husband on the shoulder, and she says, come on. Come on. He says, no. She goes, come on, pull your chair up. Pulls his chair up. It turns out that Alexander is his name, was recently diagnosed. He was having a very, very hard time with it. He was deeply depressed. He was a top neurosurgeon who couldn't practice anymore. And DJ read him one of his poems, and the guy lit up. And the nurse came while DJ was in the midst of everything and said, okay, DJ, it's time. And he ignored her and pushed her away. She gives him another 5 minutes. DJ, it's time, and he pushes her away. In another 5 minutes, she comes, and now they're dragging him. She's got a big guy behind her. Okay, DJ, let's go. They drag him away. DJ's giving everybody his contact info. teamdeej.com, follow me on Instagram, every single thing, every plug you could imagine. Call me, and they're dragging him into the doors. They called him. Alexander called him, I think, every week or every 2 weeks. And DJ used to talk to him and listen and learn and teach and inspire him. And together, they formed this bond. They met one time in the waiting room for 5 minutes, literally maybe 10 minutes. But now, that was it. They were tied. And Alexander looked up to DJ. He looked forward to talking to him. This guy was maybe 70 years old. DJ was in his 30s. DJ found out that Alexander passed away this past year. He got a call from his wife, who told him, I just wanted to thank you for giving me my husband back for the amount of time that we had. This is one singular, extremely small example of such a huge reach that happens. And that was one man to one man. We have these opportunities. And I'd be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to remind you all that we have these opportunities. We've all been talking, and everybody that you've heard speak about DJ will talk about his ability to be in the moment. It's thankful, present, and aware. We have to remind ourselves to be present and aware of those moments. And I'm just going to give you 2 last little ones. Because if you've ever tried to get a cup of coffee with DJ, you will know that you're not making out of there. You're not getting a quick cup of anything and walking out. You're going to go, and you're going to be late for an appointment, and you're going to be nervously pacing around while DJ's dancing to the song on the radio, and he's talking to the barista, and he's asking you, name me your top 10 singer-songwriters from 1990 in the pop and or rock category. Go. And you're like, Deej, we don't have time. We gotta go. The doctor's waiting, there's a cab outside. Let's go, man, let's go. And he didn't care, and I know you're all hungry, And I know you're all waiting to go home. I don't care. You're here. You're my prisoner now for DJ. Because that's what he would want me to do. And he's watching right now, and he's like, look at him all squirm. Keep it going, Ralphie, keep it going. No, seriously, I have at least 3 more. Now, I'll wrap it up. In honor of DJ's legacy, let's all work on slowing down, lightening things up. In the face of little things and the big, work on taking the time to notice the people on the peripheral, the cashiers, the security guards, the people you don't know who you're making an impact on. Work on growing our consciousness and realize and wield the power that we have to affect those around us. DJ's sense of humor, his sense of love and compassion, his sense of everything emanated from his emunah. He was true and pure, and we can all use a little bit more of him in all of us. I miss you, DJ. It hurts so much. Baruch Hashem, and I love it.
Jerry, congratulations.
Okay.
Hey, Franco?
Mic check, 1, 2. I did not want to be on the list of speakers for tonight. Instead, I wanted to show up, take a seat, wait for the opportune moment, walk up and steal the microphone, and command everybody's attention. That's pulling a DJ. In fact, I don't think any of us would have been surprised if DJ walked in, stole the mic, and started speaking at his own funeral. Pulling the ultimate DJ. And I think we kind of expected it, because DJ had us believing that these things were possible. That was the power of DJ Cohen. And so I'm standing here in front of everybody, and I'm wondering, what should I say? Because there's so much. How many stories can I share? And I have DJ's voice in my head saying, hey, instead of talking about what you're going to talk about, just start talking about it. So I'm going to start with where I began, which is seizing opportunities. Because that was one of DJ's powers, the power to seize the opportunity. And not just the opportunity to grab a microphone and steal an audience, but the opportunity to enhance a person's life. DJ looked for these. He zoned in on them. He identified them. And he accomplished each and every one of them. We all have something that we can point to, that we can say came from DJ. It can be a mitzvah that we're performing. It can be a philosophy or an ideology that we've adopted. It can be a change to our daily routine. There's something we can trace back to DJ's ripple effect, which we should totally rename to DJ effect, because he had this for everybody. But DJ was the master at seizing these opportunities and enhancing people's lives. And there was a unique way that DJ went about this, because he did it on an individual level. He wasn't a preacher. He wasn't shouting one message for everybody to pick up and internalize. He was more like a doctor. He was very precise. Each one of us, every person in this room, those who were here, those who couldn't make it, those who are watching on the live feed, DJ treated each and every one of us like an individual patient and gave us all our unique prescription for what we needed to enhance our lives. I'd hate to get personal because I really want to stick to DJ, but I need to tell you what DJ did for me. Because there was something in my life that was missing, and DJ identified it, and he gave me the prescription, and he set me on the path. I was missing out on chesed. I didn't have chesed in my life. I felt kind of complete, but I was missing something. And DJ identified it. And I'm going to tell you how he did it. I befriended DJ in the summer of 2016, and I started to visit him at Kima. And my first visit, I brought my little travel guitar, and
a chemo session instantly turned into a jam session. And I had a great time at chemo. Isn't it crazy that I could even say that? If you listened into our conversations after chemotherapy, you'd think we were nuts. Wasn't chemo so much fun today? I cannot wait for next week's chemo. Oh my God, I'm missing chemo next week. Take pictures and send it to you. The DJ made these statements make sense. It's nuts. We're nuts. That was the best part about it. So I'd show up with the guitar, and we'd sing, and we'd have a great time. And after about a month, someone heard, what I was doing, and they approached me and asked if I would play at the old age home. And I said, sure. A week later, someone asked me if I could play for someone who's not doing so well in their home. Sure thing. Thank God and thanks to DJ, this pattern of chesed, of playing guitar and visiting people, is something that I'm still doing today. And I would not have found it if not for DJ. He set me on that path. And DJ, I thank you so much for that. For the many things you did, but just for that alone, because you helped me find fulfillment and joy through chesed. And not just any type of chesed. The beauty of what DJ did is that he found the chesed for me that's from me. That's only something I can give of myself. So unique and special to me. That's the power of DJ Cohen. So Mr. Opportunity, we're sitting in the hospital, and DJ would look at the doctors and the nurses that would come in and say, is anybody here having a tough day? Could use a little bit of a laugh. Is there anybody we can go cheer up? He's receiving his own chemotherapy. He's got a 10-hour day in front of him. And he's looking for other people he can help. He's the patient. And he didn't limit this search to just other patients. It was patients and their support groups. It was even nurses and doctors. We'd get into the elevator, and he'd start making conversation with everyone in the elevator. It was awkward, and it was hilarious. And we just loved watching it happen. And he was just looking for a chance to converse with somebody, for a chance to tell a joke, and for a chance to make someone smile. It was so special. There's one story that I need to share with everybody. We were sitting in the room. There were about 20 visitors there that day, and a woman and her mother walk in. Kristen McRedmond, 38-year-old woman, and her mother Rita, or Rita, as you hear DJ say in the video. And DJ invites them in. DJ's going through his chemo. He's got his 20 visitors there. And Kristen's going through chemotherapy alone with her mother. And he brings Kristen in and sits her down on the bed right next to him and says, Kristen, do you like music? She says, sure, I like music. Says, who do you like? What kind of bands do you like? Kristen mentioned Pearl Jam. Now, it's too perfect, because if you've ever heard DJ impersonate Eddie Vedder, he's spot on. And so, right away, we start playing Alive by Pearl Jam. Such an apropos song, which we had sang since the first time I visited chemo, which we covered at the Many Thanks concert, and it was just awesome. We start to sing Alive. And when we hit the first chorus, there's 20 voices in the room shouting, I'm still alive, I'm still alive. And it was powerful, but it got even better. We went into the second verse. And as we're getting to the second chorus, Kristen, eyes closed, head waving side to side, entranced in the music, DJ takes his right hand, grabs Kristen's right hand and lifts it to the sky and pumps his fists in the air and changes the words to the song. And together with Kristen, he shouts, we're still alive, we're still alive. We felt the power in the room. It was intense, but we didn't even know the magnitude until a few days later, when Kristen posted a video that her mother took of her and DJ singing on Facebook. And the video and the post made its way back to us, and I want to share with you the words that Kristen wrote. Sometimes in life, you have an experience that you are completely unprepared for. Yet that experience is exactly what your soul was searching the universe to find. An experience that can restore faith, renew hope, and fill your heart with pure joy. Music, family, friendship. I feel so blessed that my mom and I were able to witness this celebration of life, and incredibly blessed that we were welcomed in to be part of it. Part 2. Now, for me to share myself singing, this was clearly the most incredibly powerful music experience that I have ever had, and I feel I need to share it with the world. What my soul experienced during this moment could never truly be captured through words. A celebration of the pure fact that we're still alive. Again, we didn't understand the magnitude of what DJ was able to bring Kristen until she shared it with the world. 2 months later, Kristen passed away. But the fact that DJ was able to ease her journey, the fact that DJ was able to let her feel alive as she lived out her last days, that's only something DJ could have done. And it's crazy to think about it, because he was sitting there in his chemo bed, tired, in pain, a little bit woozy. he was able to have such an impact on just one person. Through this experience, DJ taught me, a musician since I was a kid, the power of music. DJ taught artists the power of their art. He taught fathers the power of fatherhood, mothers that was Alexis actually. Mothers the power of motherhood. That was something that DJ had. He brought so much meaning to everything that we already knew and everything we already did. Wasn't the best musician, I heard him play guitar. Wasn't the best singer, he was pretty good though. But when he gave it all, he gave it his soul. You felt it when he sang, when he closed his eyes and just let it out. That was DJ. And now speaking of the power of music, I was so fortunate to know DJ as a friend, as a brother, as a bandmate, which is a very unique relationship, and as a fellow songwriter. So I got to play in the band with DJ, I got to rehearse with DJ, and we had an amazing experience. But I was really blessed when DJ asked if I can collaborate with him and write a song for Alexis. And that was such a special moment in my life. And I'm going to quote 5 words that I'm sure we've heard Deep say so many times when speaking. Alexis is going to kill me. But Alexis, I do need to take a minute to thank you for being DJ's rock, for being DJ's core. Because without you, DJ couldn't have done it. And we know you guys are a team. And everything we credit to DJ, we must credit to you too. And I'm so blessed to be friends and family with you and DJ and the girls. And I always think back to that weekend that you guys came over and my mom turned the 3rd floor into your hotel room. And I know Jacob owes you guys some Forever Row shares that he stole. But you guys really became family. So to Linda, Lori, and Caroline. Cohen's Frankos, you guys are family. And yeah, Alexis, I'm going to cut it short because I know you don't want me to continue, but thank you for everything. But to write a love song for Alexis and to get into the studio with DJ and watch him pour out his heart and soul singing the words that he wrote for the love of his life, inspiring. I love you, let me count the ways. I love you, all of the hours of all of the days. You are my core, it's you that I adore. I know I'm going on a little bit too long, but that's also pulling a DJ. I'm going to try to get to the end of it. You know, in Pesach we read from the Haggadah, this very unique passage of Dayenu, and talk about everything God did for us. And had he only done one, it would have been enough. But he did that and one more. And had he only done those 2, it would have been enough. But he continued going. And I'm compiling this speech and I'm thinking about all the amazing things DJ did. And I keep thinking, Dayenu, no? Wouldn't that have been enough? I mean, the guy recorded a song and released it to iTunes and Spotify like he's out there. Dayenu, enough. But he did it again, and then again. He's got 3 songs out there. But not only that, he performed them all in front of a live audience many times. Wouldn't that have been enough? And then he dressed up for chemo. If he dressed up for one chemo, that would have been enough. He dressed up for every single chemo. If he had inspired one person, that would have been enough. He inspired thousands upon thousands, and still going. If he had done one talk show interview, that would have been enough. The guy was a celebrity. And I think DJ took the word Dayenu, he crumbled it up and he threw it to the side, and that's how DJ beat cancer. Because DJ did everything that logically, physically, and spiritually no one could do. And he beat cancer. And DJ had the attitude. He had the positive attitude, he had the edge of an attitude. Because doctors told him he got 3 months, and DJ said, I got more time than that. And then cancer said, you know, DJ, I'm here to take your life. And DJ said, you can't have it. And then Hashem said, look, DJ, you know, at some point you're coming with us. And DJ, and we all know DJ spoke to Hashem. We've all stood there in conversation with him where he would stop. Hashem, I just want to say that I'm so blessed to be surrounded by my family and my friends. I'm having such a great day. I'm having such a great day. How many times have you witnessed that? So here's how I think the conversation went between Hashem. Hashem comes and says, DJ, you know, at some point you're coming with us. And DJ says, Hashem, let's talk. Figure something out. I'm going to take 4 years. I'm going to change the world. And then at the end, you can have my body, but just that. And God says, sounds good. DJ says, and God, one more thing. Hashem says, I'm listening. He says, I'm going to be going through this cancer and this chemo and all this mess, right? Hashem says, yeah. DJ says, all right, I want perfect hair and a perfectly trimmed beard throughout the entire process. And Hashem said, done deal. But it's because of that that I truly believe that DJ Cohen is more alive than anyone in this room. We have a choice. We can choose to live within ourselves, but DJ chose to live within all of us. There is a part of DJ in every single one of us, and every single one of the people in this room, that he put there when he first met us. Because there's not one person that shook hands with DJ once and doesn't have a continuation of that story. DJ is in all of us. To quote the great songwriters of RJ2 from their song Courage, what you give is the only thing that lasts. DJ Cohen gave himself to us and to the world, and that is why he will last forever.
Hey Franco, that was unbelievable, thank you. DJ's cousin, Joseph Lam, would like to say a few words. Sorry, everyone. We made this Arayat an hour earlier. No reason.
So, on Thursday, I wasn't able to be there in person. I was stuck overseas, but I was able to watch. I was able to watch the funeral from over the internet, and I heard Joe Gandhi was talking about how DJ was concerned when he started writing poetry that his words weren't good enough to share with everyone else. I know how he feels. I worry that my words will not do justice at all in describing DJ, but hopefully I can at least give a little bit of flavor, and you guys will sort of tolerate that I'm only giving a little flavor of a man who is very, very great. So I'll never forget the feeling the first time that DJ said it to me. To be honest, I don't remember exactly when it was. It was definitely a few years ago. Possible it was before the cancer, it's possible it was after the cancer. But I do remember the feeling, and I remember it vividly. It was, to be honest, sort of awkward. And I didn't quite know how to respond because I never really thought about it before. It may have been at the end of an in-person visit, it may have been on a phone call. The details are really hazy, except for the words themselves and the way that I felt. And you guys, many of you have heard this, I'm sure. He said, "I love you," at the end of the conversation, and he ended it with, "I love you," not goodbye, but I love you. There was really no reason. It wasn't a particularly heavy conversation. We weren't deep in some subject. It was, I don't know, we could have been talking about, sports, and he just ended the conversation with, "I love you." Very matter of fact. And he loved me. So I knew that I loved him too, once I thought about it. I probably hadn't really thought about it before. I mean, he was my cousin, and more importantly, he was my friend. But it still felt really, really weird for me to say it back. And I thought to myself, why isn't it weird for him? What kind of power did he have that he could express his love for me in the most pure, most matter-of-fact way, without any fear at all of vulnerability, without any pretense of masculinity, and without any of the barriers that stop the rest of us from going all in our relationships? There really is no explanation other than that was DJ. You've heard countless numbers of stories that tell you that was DJ, and you each have, I'm sure, your own stories that tell you that was DJ. So he loved me, and I loved him, and that love extended between our families. We were close before the cancer, and we were closer even after. My wife, Ruthie, and I loved DJ and Alexis like brothers and sisters, and our girls love each other the same way. To be honest, I still don't know why he loved me so much, other than that was effectively his default state of being. I didn't do anything to earn it, but I did love him back, and there were many, many reasons that I do know as to why I loved him. I'm going to mention just a few of them. So first, I love DJ because he brought out a side of me that I'm generally afraid to expose. I'm more of an introverted type. I don't gratuitously smile at people on the street. I don't high-five strangers when I'm running down the Asbury Boardwalk. And I don't randomly try to cheer up people just because I don't see a smile on their face. I'm not that guy. Primarily because I'm concerned what people think of me. It's my own insecurity. But DJ was that guy. He did all of those things. He connected with people no matter who they were, no matter how he met them, no matter what he was going through. And when I was with DJ, I became a little bit more of that guy and a little bit less of the default version of me. So I love DJ because just being around him made me a better person. I don't know about you, but there aren't many people that make that list for me. Another reason I love DJ is because I got to see firsthand what an incredibly devoted husband and father he was. His love for his family was enormous, as was their love for him. He appreciated you, Alexis, more than words could describe, not that that stopped him from trying on many, many occasions. He was always so proud of your talents and so grateful for your unrelenting devotion and optimism. I would say he was lucky to have you, but we all know it wasn't luck. It was divine providence. You were his strength, he was your funny bone, and he was your dreamer. I honestly don't know where you find your strength, but you should know that you're a strength for all of us, even though by all logic it should be the other way around. But you really are all of our rock. And of course, DJ loved his daughters, Linda, Lori, and Caroline, more than the entire world. He got so much joy from making you girls happy and seeing your incredible accomplishments. His Shabbat table jokes were infamous, carefully curated in advance for appropriateness and humor, printed before Shabbat and then delivered on the table, all to bring joy to his family on Shabbat table. And he didn't just love his girls, he was so proud of you, and I'm so proud of him and Alexis for the children that they raised. Each one of you girls are a perfect diamond with midot of kindness that mirror your parents. You have greatness in your genes. I know your dad is watching you and smiling every day as you continue growing in your greatness. I also love DJs because of the way he loved God. Sort of the way he loved me. Very matter-of-fact and unconditional, but bigger, much bigger. Along with his riddles on Shabbat, he would print Dvar Torah every week, and he would read them at the table after he made the most passionate Kiddush and Hamotzi Berachot, and it's true, they all sounded different, but they were all extremely, extremely passionate. I can't replicate the scene, but it was epic every time that I had the privilege to sit at his table. Beyond that, he'd ask me questions about halakha or the parasha, and I'm clearly no rabbinic authority by any stretch, so he wasn't asking me, because he thought that I knew the answers. It was because he just loved talking about it. It was something precious for him, and it was something that it was so precious that he wanted to share it together. And of course, his love of Hashem came through so clearly in his poetry that he's written over the years. Finally, I love DJ because of the way he loved me unconditionally. And in loving me, I knew that it wasn't just me. He loved all people by default. I wasn't the greatest friend. I wasn't the greatest cousin. I didn't visit him as often as I wanted to. I didn't call or text as often as I could. I missed many opportunities to connect with him because ordinary life got in the way. But every single time I did connect with him, it was like a reset button got pushed. He'd ask me to tell him about my life because he'd love to hear about it. Tell me how the house is going. Show me pictures. Tell me about a case you're working on. Each time he'd listen and experience my life with more fervor and zest than even I experienced it. And then the I love you at the end of the conversation would come with the same sincerity as the first time. He loved me. 2 weeks ago on Friday night, I woke up in the middle of the night, and of course, a poem, which I never, ever have written a poem, came into my head about DJ. One of the verses was about the similarities between DJ and his original namesake, King David Amelech, apropos of what you said earlier, Rabbi Tal. Of course, DJ was named after my grandfather, David Cohen, alav shalom, and he bore so many similarities to him, both looks and personality. But the similarities to David Amelech are what occupied my thoughts that Friday night in the middle of the night for some reason, and even more so since we lost DJ. For starters, they were both poets and songwriters. How many poems did DJ write that displayed the force of his love for Hashem and his faith, even from the depths of his struggles and his suffering? I think it's remarkably beautiful and appropriate, more so than any other time that we sit around and read Tehillim to people, but that we were able to do that today, to elevate the neshama of DJ, reading poems written by his original namesake on some of the very same subjects that DJ himself has wrote, the 21st century versions. Then there's the fact that David's life mission, David Amelech, was to build a house for Hashem, which ultimately was fulfilled by his son Shlomo. We know from the rabbis that the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed by sinat chinam, cheap hatred. When you think about the essence of DJ, he was a powerful counterforce to cheap hatred. He loved, but it wasn't cheap love. It was deep and meaningful love to each and every person. I have to believe that his love has brought us a step closer, a big step closer, to rebuilding the Beit HaMikdash, and will continue to power us on that journey. Finally, I'm struck by the Midrash about how David Amelech was only supposed to live a few hours, but was given 70 years by Adam HaRishon from his own life, because Adam saw what David Amelech would bring to the world and could not bear the thought of depriving the world of his greatness. And I wonder what deliberations, although Avi sort of played it out for us, but what deliberations must have taken place up above when DJ was first diagnosed with cancer. How a decree by all logic meant to last only a few months, extended to 4 years. Obviously we don't know, but deep inside I believe that DJ was given as much time as he had, specifically because he kept on doing Hashem's work in this world in a massive and unique way that only he could. He was and is an irreplaceable servant of Hashem. Ultimately, his beautiful neshama was meant to be returned to its creator. I know time is running short, and I've kept everyone, well, really, the people before me kept you, but, you know, it's my plan. But I want to say a few words as well to my Aunt Linda and my Uncle Judah and my cousins, Robin, Sarah, and Ike. I can only imagine how hard this is, but I hope that you can take comfort in the fact that you raised an incredible person who left a permanent mark on this world. What he accomplished in his relatively short life, the number of people he touched, which have been borne witness over the last several days, the lives he changed forever, are a lasting legacy, and they exceed what most people accomplish in a life twice or even 3 times the length of his. I know we have a tendency to measure life in length, but time is relative and only exists in this world. Olam Haba doesn't measure life in length, but instead in what you accomplish. By that measure, DJ comes out on top by a very, very wide margin. He lived a full life, even if it wasn't a lengthy one. This is the first time I've ever sort of done this. In writing this, I discovered that the conclusion is actually the hardest part. The act of concluding suggests somehow that I've said all there is worth saying, and that's certainly not true. It could never be true. No matter how long I stood up here and talked about DJ. Don't worry, I'm not going to stay up here forever. So instead of a conclusion, let me end with what I've learned from DJ in a nutshell. If you love life to the fullest and everything it has to offer, good, bad, and otherwise, then you can live life to the fullest. DJ loved and lived to the fullest and has set an example for me and my family, for his incredible family, and for all of us. I love you, DJ, and I will miss you greatly. When I close my eyes, I will always see your wide smile and your thumbs up, and know that you are showering us from above with love.
Thanks, Joe. That was beautiful. Okay. Alexis has put together some words that she's asked me to read. She actually started off by saying, "You got this," but said, "Don't read that, just read it for yourself." To try and put DJ into words is quite impossible. I try and start, and it keeps coming back to, where do I begin? As I was looking through the safe, I found some folded papers in between some legal documents, dated 7/16/01. It was a letter and poem I wrote to DJ just 3 weeks after we met. I started to read it and realized that how I felt then is exactly how I feel now. So almost 18 years later, there are no new words that need to be said. Here is the letter that Alexis found. To describe what I'm feeling, quite impossible at this moment. Dave, just wanted to let you know you are amazing. Someone too good to be true, but a reality. Always dreamed, but never imagined someone like you could come along in my life. The way you make me feel can't be put into words. She also had a poem attached to this letter. The feeling of chills inside, no fear of anything to hide. So content and peaceful, my heart feels so comfortable. Everything seems so at ease, each of us easy to please. To stare into his eyes is more beautiful than watching a sunrise. The smile on his face makes my heart begin to race. The tenderness of his voice makes me melt with no choice. The way he makes me feel, I never knew anything so real. The shivers down my spine, the way he asks if I'm fine. Caring so much, it is my heart that you touch. That was beautiful. That was written 7/16/01. So if anybody thinks that Alexis waits for the last minute. And lastly, we'd like to just make a couple of mentions before we wrap this up. On behalf of Alexis and the entire family, we would like to extend a special thanks and gratitude to all the doctors at Memorial Sloan Kettering, Dr. David Kelson, Dr. Eileen O'Reilly, and all their respective nurses and personnel that helped DJ throughout his journey, Dr. Hirschfeld from Bruckner Oncology, Dr. Ahmad, and all the doctors and nurses from Jersey Shore Hospital. Thank you.
Let's everybody please stand so we say the Hashkabah. صديق تعالى ما بيشارك في أساس الإسلام بقدر هذا حزب ومعصاب كان خاصة كمان رفعي من كتاب من سلسلة عشيق من السلطان ميو ما لو ما تأثير هو بأحد مكبرنا برشوب تبعيعاز كاتون قدوم الشام هو بعيبه خرشينا بناب إن معبدا يعني معقاد يسين كولا عفي نوشما بين أدم كل عاصل من قوله يقول الخمس فاتح من العابر سيد شربو يا هايمت شوفت سيد عمد بروكان عمد يقوم شبتاب سيد عمد طول شمس مدوب يوم معبد ومحبا دوسو وإشماع فرميها نفس سمو كنزة عدام يعزو حسب حبوي يعني وعشمتام من روحانك ونا بشاعي ونا تحق فيها شخينا معمد بيشوم توريم كي زوار على كيامه مزري محدوث أصل الخوات شميم فالحكات شرح وديشا بحينا وحينا مثل شوكم يعونا بحو الله كاتبا وحينا باشام تهي منات الحيسات يسات نفش الشمطور דוד בן יחד רוח אמרתם של עדן תקפתה מה הדן תראו תלכה מעלה לפנייה והרעה המלך ולך אמר לי יכול שאנחנו עברתי רבי אלוהי שלום ולכם שלום יפיד יבוא שלום נוחם שלותם ועולה פני חוקו ובפני יסלח שחור וחד שכנמו יוכל נעשה לכל בכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן אלוה אמר רבי יפתח מחמה ימין ונאמר כל ששומרים מחפת ומייסים מעופים עד שלמה גבל יחי מדיכם את כימון העציבים ולמין שוכני עפת איתה לא דוד ואחד העשבים תדינו ולכם יעבור ולאיש יעבור